Hello, I'm Dimension Space. Today, I'd like to give you an analysis of the social situation of Trump administration. It should be very tense. Trump's current situation is not good, let alone the Democratic Party, and even the Republican Party is also a number of heavyweights have turned against him and have come out to criticize Trump publicly. The Republican tycoon, former President George W. Bush, after retiring from office, devoted himself to painting and writing, hardly commenting on current affairs. However, facing Trump, a president who is becoming more and more extreme, George W. Bush issued a serious statement in which he said, "We have seen nationalism distorted into nativism, and we have forgotten the dynamism that immigrants bring to America. We have witnessed the gradual disappearance of trust in free markets and international trade, and we have forgotten that conflict, turmoil, and poverty will follow in the footsteps of protectionism. We have witnessed the counterattack of isolationism. Forgetting that chaos and despair in the distance will directly threaten the future of the United States. Now, it's time to reflect on America's tragic failure." Bush's whole statement did not mention Trump, but everyone knows that this is a statement attacking Trump's incompetence in power and cutting with Trump. Another big Republican, Romney, competed for the presidency on behalf of the Republican Party and Obama in 2012. Although he was defeated, he was still an influential figure in the Republican Party. Yesterday, Romney appeared in Washington to part in anti-discrimination demonstrations. Romney was the first Republican senator to participate in the demonstrations in person. His intention to support the demonstrations against Trump was obvious. Romney then made it clear that he did not support Trump's re-election. Colin Powell, the first African-American Secretary of State in the United States, fully supports George W. Bush's foreign line. He is famous for the washing powder incident, and is also an old anti-special professional. In the 2016 election, Powell expressed his support for Hillary Clinton, saying Trump was not qualified to be President of the United States at all. Yesterday Powell spoke again in clear support of Biden, not the absurd president he is now. Trump was attacked by Powell and immediately launched a counterattack on Twitter. Trump said, "Powell, an old-fashioned, old man, who has plunged the United States into a disastrous Middle East war, just announced that he will support another old-fashioned, sleepy Biden. Didn't Powell say that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction? Iraq didn't, but we started a war." James Mattis, the former defense minister of Trump, was nicknamed Mad Dog for his fierce fighting. He was also the elder of the Third World War, Gulf War, Afghanistan War, Iraq War, of the United States. He successively served as the commander of the United States Central Command and the Supreme Commander of NATO Command. Mattis was rooted in the Army all his life and had a high prestige in the Army. When Trump ordered the U.S. Army to calm the chaos and let the U.S. Army aim its guns at the Americans, the Mad Dog jumped out and attacked Trump loudly. He had no governing ability and tried to split the United States. "In my life, Trump is the only president who doesn't want to unite the American people. He doesn't even pretend to unite. Instead, Trump is always trying to split us," Mattis said. In addition to these Republican bigwigs, the former Republican House Speaker, John Boehner, and Paul Ryan, are no longer showing their intention to vote. They are looking at the wind. If there are more and more opponents of Trump, they will also cut Trump. In the previous article Black and White, Win and Lose, I mentioned that Trump is actually a person who has no political backyard. There is no loyalty between him and the Republican Party. Both sides are only based on pure interests. If Trump is in good condition, the Republican Party will continue to support him, but if Trump can't see it, the Republican Party will not hesitate to cut him. Even Republicans will step on Trump's feet more severely than Democrats to express their hate for him, so as to show that Trump is Trump and Republicans are Republicans. There is no significant relationship between them. Now Trump is facing a situation in which big Republicans are defecting, just like I mentioned before. There are only two ways to wait for Trump. One, re-election, a dead end. He can't quit. If he doesn't want to die, he has to be re-elected. If he fails, both parties will pursue and liquidate him. Trump's best result is to die in prison. So as you can see, Trump's mental state has been a little unstable recently. A few days ago, Trump tweeted 200 tweets in a day. Yes, you are right. 200 tweets. Are you a normal person who can tweet 200 tweets a day? Don't say 200. There are a lot of 20 in a day. In Trump's 200 tweets, 37 are completely original tweets, 163 are comments plus forwarding, with an average of 7.2 minutes, setting a new one-hour tweet record since he became president. 79. That is to say, a president of the United States sits in the White House and does nothing. He tweets on this mobile phone all day. This person scolds me, and I call him back. That person supports me. I comment and forward him. Is this the President of the United States? Or senior melon eaters? Trump, regardless of national affairs and international situation, is totally focused on internet public opinion with his mobile phone. He tweets 200 times a day, an average of 7 minutes, which highlights only 2 words. Anxiety, extreme anxiety. Facing the huge pressure of the whole country, and even the world, Trump's uneasiness and anxiety deepened. He can only alleviate his inner anxiety by constantly tweeting and searching for the support of the stratosphere on the internet. Trump's death knell is ringing, and he can hear it most clearly. According to the results of NBCWSJ poll, 80% of the voters surveyed said the situation in the United States was out of control, while only 15% said it was under control. The vast majority of Americans believe that the situation in the United States is out of control, as long as you can see it with long eyes. The more chaotic the United States is, the more active the Republican Party is in cutting Trump, and the more Trump's death knell rings. But at present, Trump still has a big killing move, which may help him succeed in re-election. I don't know whether Trump knows this move. If he knows it, he will not hesitate to use it for re-election. The name of this killing move, Fear and Fear, is the cheapest voting tool. If there are staff who have told Trump and former French President Sarkozy's story, I believe that he would be very interested. Sarkozy is the typical use of riots and fears. Elected president. In 2002, Sarkozy served as the Interior Minister of France. He has always been ambitious, and his ambition is undisguised, but he has never caught the chance. When he became France's Interior Minister in 2002, Sarkozy immediately began to play a signboard strategy. He began to enforce the law with iron fist, hoping to thoroughly rectify France's disorderly security. So he learned from the experience of American police and carried out the policy of zero tolerance, that is, the police have absolute authority. Don't give me nonsense, let you lie down, let you stay still. He personally supervises the law enforcement of the police and rushes the police who used to be lazy in the police station to work in the streets. He is also an iron fist law enforcement with zero tolerance. At the same time, Sarkozy also set up 30 mobile police units, which, together with gendarmerie, customs, and special police, mainly attacked the most rampant and chaotic areas of Paris. Who dares to do something under my nose? Come and try. Sarkozy, on the one hand, enforces the law with an iron fist, on the other hand, pays close attention to the media. Every time the police has a big action, he takes the initiative to bring the media to participate in the action, and always appears in front of the camera, firmly waving his fist, vowing to give peace to the people and severely punishing every criminal. Sarkozy's performance on TV, like Hollywood's Cops and Robbers, likes his French and compares him to the American tough guy movie star, Colin Eastwood. Soon, Sarkozy was given a resounding name, the #1 French policeman. In fact, Sarkozy is using iron fist against crime plus Hollywood-style reporting to build his reputation and accumulate political capital. He doesn't want to be a #1 policeman. He wants to be a big man. Sure enough, the Times gave him a chance. As we all know, France used to be a colonial power, especially in Africa. So when you go to France, you can see many black people from Algeria, Senegal, Guinea, Mali, and other places. These black people living in France, like the black people in the United States, have always been unable to integrate into the mainstream society, and ethnic conflicts have always existed. The crime rate of black people in France is also much higher than that of white people. In the Greater Paris area, black people and immigrants usually live in some remote areas, such as the northern suburbs, where public security is chaotic and crime is frequent. On October 25, 2005, Sarkozy visited the northern suburb of Paris, where there were many black immigrants, which made the local French miserable. "I know you're fed up with this scum, and I'll clean them up for you," Sarkozy and reporters shouted at the white French on the balcony during the inspection. As soon as this is said, the whole country is in an uproar. We should know that in a politically correct country, race is something nobody dares to touch. But Sarkozy openly called the black people in the northern suburbs of Paris scum, and I will help you solve them. Sarkozy is obviously very politically incorrect, but that's exactly what he's smart about. He tried to infuriate the black people. He didn't know if it was a coincidence. 2 days later, Sarkozy called the black people scum. On October 27, 2005, or in the northern suburb of Paris, 3 minor children, 15 and 17, climbed into a substation to avoid the police's pursuit. 2 of them were shocked and died on the spot. The other one was seriously injured and hospitalized. On that day, the 3 children went to play football and passed the ball after playing when a vacant lot was seen by the nearby white residents. The white police suspected that they had stolen something, so the police arrived, and the children ran away when they saw the police and finally climbed into the substation. Tragedy happened and 2 children died. After the incident, Sarkozy was interviewed for the first time. He supported the police. Sarkozy said, "There is no problem in the law enforcement of the police. These children are to escape the police, but the police did not go after them. The implication is that the child is guilty of being a thief. When he sees the police, he runs away. He climbs into the substation in a panic and dies of electric shock." At that time, the consequences of this incident were no less than the current American riots. And the causes are very similar. They are both police enforcement and dead black people. In addition, Sarkozy's 2 years as Interior Minister constantly targeted black people and illegal immigrants, calling black people scum and rap rubbish and low-level music, which finally caused the eruption of angry volcano. On October 28, 2005, a large-scale riot broke out in the Greater Paris area. Thousands of teenagers took to the streets, burned cars, smashed shops, and even attacked police with self-made incendiary bombs and hand grenades. The police were not polite. They used rubber bullets and tear gas to fight back in Paris all night. 2 days later, the riots spread across the whole Paris area. Hundreds of cars were burned, and the confrontation between the police and the protesters continued to intensify. French President Jacques Chirac and Prime Minister Jean-Claude de Villepin have successively delivered TV speeches calling on people in the protest area to restore their sense. We must not confuse, after all, only a few people are the black sheep of smashing and looting. The vast majority of the protesters are good people who want to integrate into our society, de Villepin said. Most of them are good, only a few black sheep. This seemingly rational speech has no effect. Iron fist, perhaps, is what the people want to see in the chaos. The punch, perhaps, is what whites want black people and immigrants to feel. Sarkozy knows how to play with fear very well. He stands out and openly contradicts the French government and the French Prime Minister. The Prime Minister called for calm, only a small number of black sheep. Sarkozy asked the police to immediately increase the law enforcement. The demonstrators in the street are a group of people who can only create chaos, incompetent people. Sarkozy's words infuriated the protesters again. Riots spread rapidly from Paris to all over France. Riots broke out all over France to varying degrees, which also made a public security incident, fermenting into a race event of global attention. The world's attention was focused on the riots all over Paris. The riots lasted for 2 weeks, thousands of cars were burned, hundreds of rioters were arrested, dozens of police were injured. Because the situation could not be controlled, the French Prime Minister announced the national in a state of emergency. Local leaders may start curfews as the case may be. The Prime Minister will no longer mention calmness. He will no longer mention a small number of black sheep. Protecting people's lives and property has become the only task. Sarkozy won. The riots lasted until the end of November. The authority of the ruling government was greatly lost. The French white people were more afraid of black people and illegal immigrants. The French black people were more hostile to such an unfair discrimination environment. The whole French riots in 2005 were all over the country. The government lost, the white lost, the black lost, and the real winner was Sarkozy. From beginning to end, he plays a role of inciting hatred and inciting hostility. He carried out the law enforcement with iron fists and verbally abused black people as scum. As a direct result, black people were more discriminated, provoked, insulted and stormed into the streets, leading to protests and riots. Sarkozy is deliberately provoking the black people, hoping that the black people will be furious, hoping that the black people will make France a fiery hell. Because only in this way can white people fear black people more and hate them more. Because only in this way can white people regard him as a savior and a politician who can restore peace to our white life when he uses more ruthless and iron means to suppress the riots. Fear is the most intuitive emotion in human heart. At the same time, fear is the cheapest ticket machine. Mr. Sarkozy's image as an iron hand has led voters to believe that choosing him will bring social stability. It is not surprising that Sarkozy is the one who instigates ethnic antagonism and causes social unrest. At the beginning of 2007, when Sarkozy resigned as Interior Minister and announced that he would take part in the French presidential election, his once gentle boss, Prime Minister de Villepin, was not his opponent for a long time. On May 6, 2007, Sarkozy was elected as French president. It can be said that Sarkozy's way may be a way worth trying for Trump, who heard the death knell today. In the national unrest, continue to incite ethnic confrontation, continue to anger protesters, continue to fuel the fire. Let the riots be more violent, let the flames of unrest burn all over the United States, and let white Americans feel more scared and insecure. At this time, Trump used powerful means to suppress and help the white people recover their peaceful life. You should know that Trump's iron powder will still support Trump. Trump's mortal enemies will also oppose him to the end. But with a larger group of people in the election, known as the silent majority, it's crucial that they vote for Trump. If the U.S. uprising can't be stopped and there's a climate of fear in the society, then the silent majority will most want to vote for the president who can control the situation. 80% of Americans in the above survey think that the U.S. is out of control. And the way to control the situation is not to call for rationality, not to kneel down on one knee like Biden, and come together with African Americans to call for national unity. Directly raising a gun is the fastest and most intuitive way to restore peace. Trump can only continue to be elected if he continues to incite hatred, ethnic antagonism, or even split the country. This may sound ridiculous, but it's also the most direct way to get votes after playing with humanity. Imagine an American who doesn't care about politics. A lot of people in America don't care about politics, who doesn't have much inclination towards Trump or Biden. When such a man watched the streets of his life being smashed, robbed and burned, and the protesters passed by the door, he dared not go on the street, dare not go out, and the atmosphere of fear filled his life. At this time, Biden said, calling for black and white unity, black people's lives are also lives. Trump said, shoot, who do you think this American will vote for? The answer is obvious. Maybe some white or Asian people will say that I support black and white unity and racial equality, but when I get to the polling station, I vote for Trump quietly. Shooting is the best way to deal with fear. If Trump knew Sarkozy, he would continue to stimulate the black people, hoping that the United States would be a raging riot. The more disorderly the United States is, the more tough the politicians are. This is also a life-saving straw that Trump must grasp at present.